Hi everyone, this is Mark Rowland, the instruction librarian at NEC Libraries. Today we're going to be talking about finding sources and managing sources. So the two biggest issues students have when it comes to finding sources is knowing where to search and knowing what search terms to use. Now before we get into the specifics of that, I'd like to talk about the World Wide Web as a whole. So only about 4% of the entire internet is made up of the surface web. So these are websites that you can find on search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing. They're things that are freely available and put out there on the net to be found. But roughly 96% of all of the internet is located in what we call the deep web. So these are things that are not easily indexed by search engines. So what resources are available to you on the surface web for doing research? Those are going to be things like Google, Yahoo, Bing. If you're more privacy minded, you can use DuckDuckGo, which is a search engine that doesn't track your searches or your user data. You can also use Google Scholar to look for academic papers, though some of those will be behind paywalls, so you'll need subscriptions to actually get at the full text of the paper. Encyclopedias, there are several good ones online, Britannica, Wikipedia, which again, we're not going to recommend using it as a source, but it can certainly be a source that leads you to other sources. There are loads and loads of subject guides or library guides, which are often referred to as libguides, which is actually the service that we use to build the library's website, and government websites. Now, one thing with using something like the surface web for your research is there's a certain amount of evaluation that has to be done, because anybody can put something on the internet, on the surface web, to be found through Google, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's a quality source. So you need to make sure that anything that you're pulling off of a search engine or even from Google Scholar, that you are evaluating where it's coming from, whether it's relevant to your research topic, and whether that information is actually up to date. Now, as far as deep web resources available to you, these are typically going to be things like academic databases, which are accessed through a library subscription. We have a wide variety of databases available to you at NEC Libraries. Additionally, you'll find book catalogs are considered kind of deep web resources. They're not indexed by search engines to allow you to find print material as well as ebooks. Government databases will also be considered deep web, which requires a certain amount of digging on your part to find the information that you want. And those can be a good place to find raw data for your research projects. We also would sort of consider interlibrary loan, which allows you to request materials that aren't owned or easily accessible through a library subscription. So let's look at some tips for searching as you're preparing to look for sources. What you want to do is start by preparing a list of potential search terms, which we also call keywords. It's always helpful to kind of keep a running list of what terms you're using for your searches. And for each of those terms, you should try and think of synonyms or associated words or phrases that you can add to that list. This helps you make your search broader and make sure that you're capturing sources that you might not otherwise have captured with the original search term. So as you gather sources, look for additional terms that you can add to your list from within the sources that you've already gathered. It can be really helpful just to see what phrases they're using to describe the subject you're researching. And you can really use that to hone your search. Try and keep track of the actual searches you're doing and where you're doing those searches. So which databases and which websites you've already tried them on. And then, making sure that you're using multiple searches in multiple places. One thing you'll notice is that, the same search in one database is going to give you vastly different results in another database. So just because it didn't work in one doesn't mean you won't get good results in another. This kind of research is an iterative process. So really, that's what we're talking about with trying, a variety of searches in a variety of different places until you find what you want. It really pays to be persistent. Don't get disheartened if your first search doesn't bring back the material that you're looking for. You just have to keep at it. Another thing you can do is track down citations that have been referenced in sources you've already found that really fit your topic. That's a great way to broaden your research, and we can always help you find those citations. So when in doubt, ask a librarian. You can always email us at libraryhelp@nec.edu, and whether it's tracking down a citation or working on the searches that you're putting together, or giving you a better idea of where you can find the material you're looking for. So let's look at a Google search. Search engines like Google and Yahoo and Bing, what they do is they use these things called bots or spiders. And they basically hop from link to link, indexing any web page or website that they come across. Those pages are then ranked using the search engine's algorithm to try and bring you back the most relevant results. Now, one thing to bear in mind, they're only indexing the surface web. So again, this is like 4% of what we believe is the entire internet. So there are a lot of tools, resources that are hidden behind paywalls, subscription services, or are just not linked to, where if you want to access them, you have to already know what you're looking for. One issue that you'll come across with a Google search is you will get huge results. Part of that is it's just bringing back almost everything and trying to rank them in such a way that you don't really need to move beyond that first page. And most people won't move beyond the first page of results. One issue that you'll come across with doing a Google search is that anybody can put a website up. Anybody can publish on the internet. You don't have to have credentials. You don't have to be an expert. And you can present yourself in any way that you want. So you need to make sure any source that you're pulling from the surface web that you are doing a certain amount of evaluation, looking at who the author of that web page is, what are their credentials, and are they citing sources? Is this something where you can see where the information's coming from? So let's do a quick search for differentiated instruction. And you'll see right away we get 41 million plus results. Now that number will shift, as more pages get added and more pages get published. And you'll see that the way your results are ranked are going to be different from search engine to search engine. And that's because they're using different algorithms. So typically what they're going to try to do is give you the most relevant results for the search that they think you want. Now, with a Google search, or really any search engine, there are other tools to try and narrow down this search result. They tend not to be as numerous as the tools you'll find in an academic database. But if we go over here, we can click on tools, and you'll see that we can limit by publication date, and we can look at the results and make them either verbatim, meaning that those two specific words have to appear somewhere on the web page, or we can just include all results, which will include synonyms and basically how the algorithm is interpreting what we want. If we go to settings, you'll see that you have a variety of options here. But the one option I want to point out is the advanced search. So if we click on that, it's going to give us a lot more search options. So we can be more specific about what we want. If you're looking for something from a specific region of the world, you can select that. If you are looking for more recently updated web pages, if you want to specify that what you're looking for is coming from a .edu site, so an academic site, a .org, or a .gov site. So that .gov limiter, we'll call it, can be very useful if you're looking for specifically government information that has been indexed on the search engine. If you're looking for specific file types or specific usage rights, you can also select that as well. So, if you're looking for a form of media, an image or a video, you can make sure that it's free to use by selecting that. Now, that's not always going to be the case. People will post things that are under copyright and then try and mark them as a Creative Commons license or something like that. So you have to be wary of anything you come across and just double check that what you're pulling off of the website that you can actually use. Let's hop over to Wikipedia. Okay, so Wikipedia is an encyclopedia that can be edited by anybody, which is part of the reason that we don't encourage students to use it as a source, but it can be a very valuable tool for finding other sources. So we'll do our search. And you'll see that sometimes, depending on the topic, you'll have a very in-depth sort of look at that topic. Now, if I was using this article to try and find other sources, I could hop down to the references page and look at these. Now, a lot of these will be linked. Some of them will be available, some of them won't, but we can always track down a citation to see where it's coming from. So I like to use Wikipedia as a source to lead me to other sources. And really, it's a reference source. So even if it was the most stringent encyclopedia that was only edited by experts, you still wouldn't want to use it as one of your primary sources of information. But really, you would want to use it to lead you to other sources and get to know your topic a little bit better as you kind of hone in on your specific research topic. Now, I mentioned previously that using things like subject guides or bibliographies, that can be a really helpful tool. Much like with the Wikipedia example, we can find guides on the surface web that will lead us to other sources. And these are typically curated by experts or at least academics, where we can feel confident that the sources they're leading us to are going to be quality sources. Now, the easiest way to go about this is with a pretty simple search, including the search term for what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a bibliography or a literature review, you can just enter that in as a search term. The search term I'm going to use, though, is LibGuide. Now, LibGuide is really kind of a librarian term. It's really referring to a service that many libraries use to build their websites and to build subject and course guides. It's what our own website is built using. But if you include it as a search term, it's a great way to find these guides for specific topics. So if I go ahead and complete my search and scroll through this, you'll see that we get a lot of different guides from a variety of sources, most of them from universities. And we'll go ahead and select the Fordham LibGuide here and differentiated instruction. And you'll see that there's a whole lot of information on here. So this can lead me to sources that are available for my specific topic. Now, their links may be specific to the institution. In most cases, they will be, but that doesn't mean that you can't have access to that. We can normally find this material through our own subscriptions, and if it's something that we don't own, we can get it for you through interlibrary loan. You can find our subject guides on the Research Tools page of our website. If you scroll down, there are several education-specific research guides, and one that I'll point out to you is this Education Datasets Guide. We'll go ahead and open that up. On this page, you'll see not only links to our education databases, but also helpful links to government resources for researching raw data. We have amongst those the National Survey of Student Engagement, the Multi-Institutional Study of Leadership, High School and Beyond, and a whole bunch of others. If you scroll over the little I next to it, it will give you a brief description of the survey that you're looking at. So let's take a quick look at Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a web search engine that indexes the full text or metadata of scholarly literature. It works basically in the same way that the regular Google search does. It's just narrowing what you're searching for. If you're looking for a more advanced search option, we can click over here, and you'll see that there is an advanced search pop-up. So this allows you to be a little bit more specific with what you're looking for. I'll point out too that anytime you're doing a search in something like this, it helps to be more specific with what you're asking for. So here is our search for differentiated instruction. You'll see we have some options over on the left here to try and narrow this down some more. I'll also point out that we still have very large results for this. One of the nice things with Google Scholar is it will tell you how many times a particular article has been cited by others, which is a nice way of kind of looking at that article's impact to see how others have used it. Additionally, you'll have a brief abstract underneath it, and it'll tell you how many versions of this. So you do need to be a little bit careful with Google Scholar to make sure you're getting the published version of the work. Sometimes you'll see pre-published or pre-reviewed articles up on here. And not all of these articles are going to be available in full text. Just to scroll down here a bit, you'll see we have an article here available from ResearchGate. If I click on this, it's going to take me to this page where I get the abstract, but it requires that I log in and actually pay for the article. Now, any article you come across through Google Scholar, we should be able to get for you through interlibrary loan if we don't already have it within one of our databases. So if you come across something that you want, you just have to let us know that you're looking for it, and we can definitely get it for you. So we're going to go ahead and look at some deep web resources. These are resources that are typically hidden behind paywalls, so they won't normally come up in a normal Google search. But we give you access to those through the library's subscriptions. So to get to the library's website, you want to enter in our URL, which is nec.edu/library. You'll see that up here in the address bar. So the first thing I want to point out to you, if we scroll down the page here, you'll notice our contact information. So if you need any research related help, please don't be shy asking us questions. The best way to get in touch with us is by emailing libraryhelp@nec.edu. Now let's go ahead and scroll back up. Okay, so in the middle of our homepage, you'll notice this big search bar. This is something called a discovery search. So what this tool allows you to do is search through the majority of our subscription databases, as well as our book catalog. So it gives you access to nearly everything that we carry. So that's research articles, newspaper articles, books, ebooks, as well as a streaming video database. Let's go ahead and do a search and discovery for differentiated instruction. So this will open up a new tab with your search results. One thing I'll point out is that anytime you do a discovery search, you want to make sure you log in up here at the top of the screen. That's just going to ask you for your user ID or library ID, which is just your student ID number. With discovery, since we're searching through almost all of the subscription materials that we have, you're going to get large results. But it's a really good way when you're starting out with research to get to know a topic. And I'll point out that the more specific you are with your search terms, the smaller these results will be. There are also a wide variety of tools within Discovery to allow you to limit those results. Now, one of the issues you'll have with Discovery is that you're getting results that maybe aren't in your area of study, because it's not just education databases, it's going to be all of our databases that are generating your results. So sometimes you may want to use a specific education database that would be a little bit more useful to you, in keeping your results down. If we go back to the home page here, if I'm looking for an individual database, I can click on the Databases tab located in that quick search box where Discovery lives. So this tab is where you will find all of our databases, not just article databases, but also our streaming video database, Films on Demand, as well as our reference databases and our ebook databases. If I know the database that I want, I can just click on the alphabetical listing, which will pull up all of them. So let's say I was looking for a good documentary to show my students. I can then click on F and scroll down and use the Films on Demand database by clicking on the title of the resource. Now, if I back up, if I don't know the specific database, but I do have a research area that I'm interested in, I can use this drop-down menu for databases by subject listing and go to the subject area that I am researching. So if I'm doing education research, I'll check out the education databases. And you'll see on this page, it's going to generate all of the databases that are specific to education as a field. And underneath each, there will be a description of just what that database carries. So if I'm interested in using ERIC, I just have to click on this. Let's back up a bit. I'll point out too that if you're looking for specifically peer-reviewed academic articles, databases through the library are going to be the best resource for you. It's the one place you can go where you can be assured that you can narrow your results down to only those from peer-reviewed sources. If you've come across a citation or an article that you want for your research and we don't currently have access to it in full text, all you have to do to request that is scroll up and click on the Interlibrary Loan tab. Then select the Interlibrary Loan Article Request form. And that will open up a form. So you're just going to fill out your information and then scroll down and fill in the citation information, as much of it as you have for that article. Normally with requests like this, it only takes a couple of days, if even that, to have the article sent to us as a PDF, and then we just email it to you when it arrives. So really, anything that's out there, as long as a library out there has it, we should be able to get it to you. Now, if you're looking to see if we carry a specific journal or an article within one of those journals, we do have a tool for that, and it's something called Full Text Finder Search. So let's go ahead and back up out of here, and we will scroll up and select Library Resources, and then click on Finding Articles. If we scroll down on this page, you'll see the link for Full Text Finder Search is on the right. So what Full Text Finder allows you to do is basically search for journals. So I can do a search for an individual journal and see whether or not the library has a subscription that carries it. Let's say I'm looking for the publication Education Forum. I can do a search for the title. And then if we carry it, you'll see that there is a link underneath here for full text access. If I click on this, it's going to show me which databases carry that journal and what years of publication we carry. Then if I click on the title of the database, it should take me to that journal's page within the database. So from here, I have a couple of options where I can do a keyword search within the publication, or I can browse through individual issues using the tools on that database page. If we go back to the first page of Full Text Finder as well, we can also browse for individual journals or publications just by discipline. So it's a very powerful tool for research if you're looking for a specific journal, or if you're just looking for a good journal within a broader area. If you're looking for books, you can find those on our home page by clicking on Home. And if we scroll down, you'll see a tab for library materials. And from here, we can click on Search Danforth Library Catalog. So on the online catalog, you'll find print books as well as ebooks, and we can search by title, author, a variety of other areas, or we can just do a keyword search. I can limit to just Danforth items or only things that are in the library, so that means that they're readily available, as well as different formats. Now, if you are not from the area and you're only in town for residencies, we can still check out books to you, or we can mail them to you, and you can either mail them back, or we can set the due date for the next residency. With the grad students and doctoral students, we like to give them some more consideration with due dates. So if you need it for a certain amount of time, we can make sure that you have it for that amount of time. For help with citation, go to the Research Tools page of our website. On this page, you'll see a variety of guides, several of which are citation guides. So you'll see APA, Chicago, MLA. If you scroll down, you'll see a link for RefWorks. RefWorks is our subscription citation management tool. So it will actually format a reference page for you in any citation style that you want. And can also format in-text citations. So we'll go ahead and click on this. So on this page, you'll see links to the RefWorks YouTube page, a text-based help page, our quick guide, and to the management tool itself. So if I click on this, it's going to take me to the login page. If you don't already have an account, you want to click on the Create Account button down here, and then use your NEC email to create an account. I'll go ahead and sign in. And this will take me to my homepage within RefWorks. Adding an article citation to RefWorks is pretty easy. In an EBSCOhost database, I want to click on the title of the article I want. Then click Export. This will open up a box and you'll see one of the options is direct export to RefWorks. So I will go ahead and select that, then click Save. This will open up my RefWorks account if I'm already logged in. I'll click Import. And the article data should be imported into my account. In a ProQuest database, I want to also click on the title of the article I want to add to RefWorks. Then from this page, I'll click All Options. Under All Options, we'll see there's a citation export option. So I want to click on RefWorks. Scroll down and click Continue. Continue again. And then that will open up my RefWorks account where I can click Import. And the import is complete. We can organize our citations by using the folders option in RefWorks. On the left-hand side, you'll see it says My Folders. We can add new folders by clicking on Add Folder. We can place articles inside a folder by selecting them and clicking Assign to Folder, and then selecting the folder in which we want to add those articles. Another nice thing is that we can share individual folders with group members or our instructor. You just have to highlight the folder and select the three dots. Then if we click on Share Folder, this allows us to create a public URL that we can share with people, or we can invite people using their email addresses where they can either read, annotate, or modify what's on the page. To create a works cited page or bibliography, select the citations that you want to use. Then go to Create Bibliography and click Create Bibliography again. This will automatically format a bibliography for you in the last citation style you used. You can then copy it to your clipboard and paste it into a Word doc or Google Doc. If I want to change the citation style, I can do so by clicking here and then searching for other citation styles that I want to use, or recent ones. So we'll go ahead and select recent, and we can change it to MLA if we want to.